back to another action-packed episode of Comic Confidential. I'm your host, Cade Moore, and alongside me today, as always, the man mimicking me, because this is almost like a set routine set of words, that's Troy Spinner.
That's me. I basically know exactly what you're going to say before you say it.
I reckon.
See?
Oh, wow.
Oh.
I think we could almost just pre-record that part at the start.
Yeah,
and
probably.
then just go into us talking about the news.
Yeah, I reckon we could.
We could save ourselves at least 2 minutes each week.
Yeah. We could also just pre-record the news, we'll just make up our own news stories.
I thought that's what we did do.
Oh, nobody checks this stuff, right?
No, hashtag fake news.
Always fake news, nothing but fake news. How you been, my friend?
I have been absolutely run off my feet, Troy. I am not doing well with this being an adult thing.
Yeah, really?
Yeah, can you just take me back to 1993 where times were simpler?
Where you were just a baby.
Just a baby.
Just a little baby. Not having to really do much or worry about anything.
No.
Those were the days.
Those were the days, Troy.
We just got to, kick around and play with toys and just generally, I don't know, fuck shit up kid styles, I guess.
I think my biggest concern at that age was probably, where was my Transformer toys or where was my Power Ranger toys?
Yeah.
I remember I had a really kick-ass Power Rangers, Dinobot, the red one.
Yeah.
The main one.
Yeah.
It was amazing.
Well, you had a little brother as well.
Yeah,
that would have been interesting. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I feel like knowing your brother now, I can imagine he would have been a little shit.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
So, you would have been constantly kind of fighting him for, said toys and stuff like that.
Definitely.
Yeah. But hey, that's what kids are for, man. That's what siblings are for.
That's how life is, mate.
That is how life is. But unfortunately, we're adults, and we have adult things to do. And, sometimes you get to do them, sometimes you don't. That's my words of wisdom for the week. Sometimes you fail at being an adult, while others you don't necessarily fail as much.
Wow, this is really deep, and I don't know where you're going with it.
No, that's as far as I'm going with it.
Okay.
Yeah, it's literally that. I don't get much deeper than that, my friend.
Wow.
Just straight on the surface, and that is it. I've had a pretty busy week as well myself, so I would classify myself as also failing at adulting.
Yeah, right.
What I had a lot of trouble with, I guess, the most is the news this week, which I think we should get into. Now, the reason I say that is because, look, I'm going to be completely honest with you, man. Not a fucking lot happened this week.
Yeah, look, we're going to lavish this news up. We're going to CNN it.
Yep.
We're going to Fox News it and make it sexy, punchy, dangerous.
Dangerous. I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. But we'll get started, hey?
Okay.
You happy?
How are you going to classify this first news story? Sexy, dangerous?
Ooh, I'm going to go with...
Or controversial?
No, the first one's going to be sexy.
Okay.
Because this year's Arrowverse mega crossover finally has a title. Crisis on Earth X, which is expected to interrupt the nuptials of Barry Allen and Iris West when it airs on November the 27th and 28th. What do you know about Earth X?
Nothing at all. I've seen some concept art going around of Earth X.
Yeah.
Where is it? This the one where they wear those face masks?
Well, effectively, the only thing you really need to know about Earth X is kind of World War II, the Nazis won.
Okay.
It took them a little bit of time to do it. It took them a couple of more decades to actually win. But they end up winning the war and controlling the Earth. And basically, so what you're kind of seeing, there's there's pockets of little resistance fighters, and that's the freedom fighters, which you would have seen on the CW have a new animated show.
Yes.
The Ray and the Freedom Fighters or whatever it's called. I don't know. But the Freedom Fighters are basically these little pockets of resistance that fight against the Nazis and their superheroes. So that's kind of all that it is. And so effectively what is probably going to happen is there'll be some sort of breach, as there's always a breach, some sort of breach, and these two worlds will collide, probably when they meet the Ray, maybe. And yeah, there we go. And then it's going to be balls to the wall action for 2 episodes at least.
Awesome.
I think it's only a 2-episode crossover.
Is it really?
Yeah.
But everyone from all the shows is there.
Correct.
That's the better way to do it.
I think so. Rather than trying to claim it as a 4-way crossover and you really get the last 5 minutes of Supergirl and then, all of Flash, all of Arrow, and a little bit of Legends of Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think it's the better way to do it.
Absolutely.
And I think the way they're going to do it, how it sounds, is, everybody's going to be invited to Barry and Iris's wedding. And that's how it's gonna pop off. Now, are we ever actually going to see these two get married? Like, this is like, I mean, think about it, because this has kind of been building since season 1, right? Will they, won't they? Ross and Rachel, all that sort of stuff, right? And we finally get to this point where they're finally going to get married, and it gets interrupted. Will they finish it by the end?
Surely.
Or is it going to be let's go another season of trying to figure out whether they're actually going to get together or not?
Yeah, that's, knowing Barry Allen, he will go, I need to leave you for no reason at all,
Yeah,
Iris.
exactly.
I love you, and the timing is perfect. There's no reason for me not to do this, but I can't do it. The Speed Force needs me.
Yeah. Or it will be Iris saying, Barry, I love you and you love me, but, you need to go and do this thing, and, I need to understand that, and we can't be together right now because of no reason other than the fact that it works for the story. So,
yeah. Goddamn superhero drama. Like, seriously.
It's going to go either way. I would hope that, it will interrupt the wedding, but will come back and it will wrap up with the whole I do's and all that sort of stuff. So I really want this chapter closed.
Yeah.
Okay? That's my
Please.
thing. Please. If anyone's listening. Now, Smallville star and all-around hunk Tom Welling has expressed an interest in appearing on the CW superhero show, The Flash, which we were just talking about. Speaking on Nuke the Fridge, Welling said, I am willing to go on The Flash, and I have a few ideas of how to make it happen if the network asks me. In fact, I think I can make it happen. And Welling is scheduled to appear in the upcoming 3rd season of Lucifer, another show based off a DC comic. What do you think about Welling in The Flash?
Mate, this is really hard for me not to talk about in that last news segment.
Yep.
Because of this whole crossover that's happening.
Yeah.
But holy moly, man. Talking about sexy news, we're definitely on the sexy news.
This is sexy, yeah.
Yeah, indeed. This could be like really everyone's like fanboy dream.
Yeah. He's not going to put on the supersuit.
No, and I don't want him to put on the supersuit. I'm well past that now.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to put on the supersuit, so why make the guy do it?
Yeah.
I'm excited that we could get Barry Allen going through to a different Earth to Smallville Clark Kent.
Oh.
That's what I want.
Okay.
I want to see him like run up and then he's there on the Kent farm.
What if they did it like the first time? Oh, no, that was Bart Allen in Smallville, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Ah, damn it. Didn't work. I was thinking like they could do it like as in that was the moment that happened, but they're kind of like replaying it. You know what I mean? And the Flash meets Smallville Clark Kent for the first time.
Yeah. How, like, can you imagine?
You could just de-age Tom Welling. A little
easy.
bit.
Easy. He's like still the most gorgeous looking man in the world.
He's pretty hot.
But how awesome would that be? He just rocks up there and then we could see like the old Green Arrow.
Yeah.
Like, imagine like a little throwaway line like, you won't believe how you look on Earth 21.
Yeah. Yeah, I like it. I saw in the listener community, someone also posted that he could come as Ultraman, which I think is probably like if you're going to get him as a kind of like a Superman, like I like that in the fact that it's kind of like an evil version of Superman on a parallel universe.
Yeah, I really like that idea. I saw that too, and it kind of blew my mind. I'm like, that would be something that I think would actually interest Tom Welling.
Yeah,
rather than be like, come back and play this role that you played 8 years ago.
Yeah, for 10 years.
For 10 years, you know, like just kind of relive that bit. No, thank you.
Come and be an evil version, dude.
Yeah.
Come and be. You don't have to wear an S on your chest.
Come and be the red kryptonite version that you were in Smallville.
Yeah. Oh man, look, I think you could have him like just even as not a Superman character.
Yeah.
Like I think that's what everyone would want. Obviously, it's Tom Welling. Everybody wants him to like suit up somehow, you know, and be one of these, you know, like our version of either a Clark Kent or, you know, a Superman. But I think just the fact, like, just to get him in there somewhere, like I was really hoping he'd pop up in Supergirl somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, because we do have what's her name? Can't remember.
Erica Durant.
Erica Durant is in the new season. She's in the third season playing
Kara's mother.
Whose name I can't remember either.
I don't think it really matters. Something
Alana?
Zarel.
Elena? No, I don't know. Doesn't matter.
Miss Zarel.
Mrs. Zarel. Yeah, so you know we've got her. We've got Erica Durant. What I'm actually waiting for though is Michael Rosenbaum's call up. That dude has got to come back somewhere.
He won't do it.
Why not?
He's already said that he won't do it.
Really?
Yeah, in his podcast Inside of You, with Michael Rosenbaum,
Yeah.
he kind of alluded to the fact that he doesn't want to come back and do the Lex Luthor because he doesn't want to be like
Typecast.
well, not typecast. He doesn't not want to be the lead.
Right.
Like, because Supergirl is all about Supergirl.
Yeah.
He doesn't want to go there and go on Supergirl show and be the number 2 player.
But he doesn't have to be. So he just wants a show built around himself.
Essentially. and that's what I took from that.
Don't we all?
That podcast that he did, which is kind of like, I feel like that's a little bit shit.
It's a little bit like egotistical.
Absolutely.
In the sense of like, oh yeah, no, I'm not going to be a part of it unless like I can get the most camera time.
Yeah. I want top billing.
Well, look,
my name's the first one on the poster.
I guess when you spend 8 seasons, because I don't think he was in all 10. I think he was in 7, maybe.
Yeah, 7.
When you spend 7 seasons playing second fiddle to Tom Welling, it might be a little bit painful.
Yeah,
you might want to have your own show, but fine, that's fine then.
It's an absolute missed opportunity because I need to see a Lex Luthor in that war suit that we saw in Supergirl.
Yeah,
how can you show me that and not give me any payoff?
I am really like, and this is not a male versus female thing in the sense of like male villains are better than female villains. Not at all. I just want to see a classic character, and if we've seen Superman, which we have in Supergirl now, like why can't we see Lex at some point?
Yeah, exactly.
Like it doesn't have to just be Lena and the mother whose name I can't remember either. Can't remember any of the mums' names this week. But Mama Luthor. Mama Luthor. Can't remember her name either. But it doesn't have to be those two.
It's Martha.
It's definitely Martha. If it's a mother in the DC, it's Martha. But yeah, like I just want to see Lex at some point. We saw Baby Lex. I think that's kind of all we got. But give us adult Lex. Give us Tom Welling in something. God-damn it, make it happen in the Flash. Now, I'm only throwing this next news story in here because I just want to basically trigger you.
Oh, okay.
And you personally. So with recent talk that Kingsman director Matthew Vaughn has expressed an interest in directing Man of Steel 2, now Mother director Darren Aronofsky has expressed an interest in taking on a live-action Superman. While talking with Cinepop, Aronofsky said it would be interesting tackling the character of Superman, but also understands they are deep into reinventing the character, so it would be hard to make happen. Cade, what are your thoughts on a Darren Aronofsky-helmed Superman film?
I will fucking shoot myself. With Superman almost essentially being written as the second coming of Christ, this guy will just pull himself all over this character and will just idolize this guy as our new god and savior, and just no.
So just for clarification for everyone playing at home, Cade recently saw Mother and is, as you can tell by the vitriol in his voice, is a very big fan.
Look, here's a quickie review for Mother.
Yeah.
If you are totally into your biblical history knowledge and you are a massive fan of that, you might like you might like this movie.
Yeah.
If you aren't into any of that or you don't subscribe to that mindset, this movie is flat out the worst thing you'll ever see.
Really?
Yeah.
So that's give me a 5-star rating.
0.
0.
This almost
Darren Aronofsky, you done fucked up in Cade's mind.
This almost became the second movie I walked out on.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
And you paid cinema money for this movie.
I paid proper cinema money. I didn't even go on a tight-ass Tuesday. I went on full-price Wednesdays.
Can I ask why?
Why?
Yeah, like why did you go in the first place?
Well, because this is horror movie season for me, and horror movies are, as you know, some of my favorite movies.
Yeah.
And the marketing for this movie showed that this was an interesting horror movie. It seemed almost like it was an invasion movie,
right?
Upon this young woman and her family, or it seemed like her partner was like turning crazy on her.
Yeah.
The marketing was so off point, like I could not express how off point it was.
So rather than like, supernatural spirits or, aliens or anything like that inside of him, he just had Jesus. Excess Jesus?
He was Jesus.
Oh, spoilers for Mother. The dude is Jesus. Okay, cool. Let's get back on track. So you wouldn't be interested in a Darren Aronofsky helmed, because this guy did Noah as well, which is also obviously heavily into the biblical side of things. He also did Black Swan. Like, the guy can make a movie.
The guy can make a movie, and I actually enjoyed Noah.
Yeah.
And the reason for that is there was no hidden subtext to that movie. You know what you're getting when you go on to watch a movie called Noah.
Yeah, plus it's Russell Crowe.
Plus, it's Russell Crowe.
Yeah.
He's fighting around the world in his boat, mate.
He is.
But yeah, look, I'm totally not down for this guy.
Okay.
You know, you only get one strike with me, mate.
Right. Matthew Vaughn, on the other hand, we're going to talk about that a little bit later.
Yes,
we're going
we
to talk
are.
about Kingsman, The Golden Circle. Now, before we actually even get into that, I will give a big tick of approval, though, for a Man of Steel 2 by Matthew Vaughn. Just saying.
Yeah,
Just
absolutely.
throwing it out there. Now, going to flip to some Marvel news. Thanks to its recent release in China, Spider-Man Homecoming has now become the highest-grossing superhero film of 2017 so far, with an estimated $874.4 million under its belt, surpassing Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2's total haul of $863.4 million, with Thor Ragnarok and Justice League still to come. By the end of the year, will Spider-Man still be on top?
Yeah.
You think so? You
Yeah.
don't think Thor Ragnarok or Justice League, with all the hype surrounding both of them, will top 874 million?
Ooh. No, Justice League's going to be $1 billion movie.
Well, when you look at like Batman vs Superman, I don't have the exact figure, so don't fight me. But it's 800 plus.
Yeah.
Right? It didn't hit 900. It's in the 800s. I don't know exactly where it falls. Justice League has got to do more money than that.
Surely. 100% will.
There is so much hype for this movie, and they're playing it close to their chests.
Absolutely.
Like they're not really one of my later news stories, which we can get into now. They haven't even really there hasn't been much talk about like the second trailer or anything like that. Most people are saying that it's probably going to be attached to next week's Blade Runner 2049, which is also a Warner Brothers property. But the marketing, they've been playing it really close to the chest, man. Like we haven't really seen too much. It's kind of like character posters and this and that and this banner and this and whatever, but not a lot of visual.
No, and even the toy leaks have stopped.
Yeah.
Like there's nothing that's coming out that might allude to anything anymore.
Lego hasn't fucked anything this season.
That's quite amazing.
Well, I mean, it has, but I mean, like for these particular movies.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think Thor Ragnarok could probably do that money. Now, a Thor movie has not.
Yeah, I was going to say,
come close.
That's the only thing that's gone for it. Is it is a Thor movie who's probably the least favorite character out of all the Avengers, I would say, according to the box office. Anyway,
Well, yeah, for those who have standalone movies,
Yeah.
yeah, for sure.
yeah, I don't know. I think Thor's going to be one of the better movies of this year.
Yeah,
but I don't know if it's going to get anywhere close to that.
I can't believe, man, that and I know we spoke about this a couple of weeks ago when it had its boom opening weekend in China, which then dropped 85% the second week. I can't believe this movie is it's dead set come out of nowhere. It's it wasn't overly well received in the sense of it's not this is the best thing you'll ever see and all that sort of stuff. Like people were happy with it and all that sort of stuff. It's a good movie, etc., etc. We liked it, but I don't think we ever would have gone into it going, this is going to be the movie that's going to make the most money by the end of the year.
Yeah, it's ridiculous, and I would genuinely like to see the cut that the Asian market is getting.
Yeah, if it's how different it is.
How different it is, because they did it with Iron Man. They essentially had him getting his heart repaired over in Asia. Headed to the Asian market.
Right. I get it.
The Asian demographic is saving the Iron Man.
Yeah,
Which
okay.
is, that's super clever on the movie promoter's part.
So did they do alternate scenes
Yeah.
specifically for the Asian market?
Yeah, 100%.
That's amazing.
And it's really smart.
Yeah. Because normally they might throw in a well-known Asian actor or actress or something like that, or that terrible fucking Independence Day resurgence.
Oh, that's the one that came to mind. That was the worst thing I've ever seen.
That was one of those things where it's just you are playing to your China market because that's where your money is coming from. So yeah, but look, I don't know what they would have done with Spider-Man Homecoming. I just think it's really fucking surprising that this movie has come out of nowhere to now be the highest grossing. And I think, in my personal opinion, it'll be number 2 by the end. I don't think Thor will beat $874 million.
Nope.
But I do believe Justice League will.
Yeah.
So, interesting. The fact that movie comes out number 2, and it's like the 8th Spider-Man movie. It's not, but it's like the 6th Spider-Man movie we've had in 17 years or something.
Yeah.
Crazy. Now, on to Venom. 4-time Oscar nominee Michelle Williams is in talks to join Sony's upcoming Venom movie opposite Tom Hardy in an unspecified leading role, potentially that of Eddie Brock's love interest.
Ooh.
Oh, damn.
This is another sexy news story then.
This is pretty sexy. Michelle Williams is a fantastic actress. I don't know if you've seen Manchester by the Sea.
No, not at all.
Probably the last movie that, got my eyes real dusty.
Ooh.
Got them real dusty, but not to the point of, overflowing with dust, if you know what I mean.
You're just blinking a lot.
Yeah, I was just blinking a lot, yeah. Her performance in that was, spectacular. For such a short performance, she wasn't in the movie for that long.
Okay.
She only had, a handful of key scenes.
Yeah.
And she did such a fantastic job. So this would bring a lot of, what's the word? Kind of...
Depth?
Well, not depth. It's kind of more heart, love, authenticity, I guess, to this kind of movie. It's this is here is your actual big name, talented Oscar nominee actress for your movie. Is Michelle Williams going to sell tickets? Probably not. But is she going to put on a fantastic performance? Probably.
Yeah.
She does that.
That's a thing, really.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what the chemistry would be like between her and Tom Hardy. I guess we'll have to wait for that.
I always
they
find
seem
Tom
very
Hardy,
weird.
Yeah, Tom Hardy's he's too hard for me to take him in that personal aspect.
Yeah,
he's too much of a blokey bloke, a man's man.
Yeah, I actually don't think I've seen a movie with Tom Hardy in it where he has just
softer side to him.
Well, yeah, I've seen a couple of movies where he has a love interest, but he's still not the most, kind of open and loving type of guy, or anything like that. And obviously, Eddie Brock and Venom is probably not going to be, too different. But yeah, look, it'll be interesting anyway. I just think it's good. I think it's nice. Hopefully, she gets that role. And the other actor that was also up for in talks is Riz Ahmed from Rogue One, and that's going to add a lot to the movie as well. So while everyone's a bit concerned about Venom and, being separate from, Spider-Man and all that sort of stuff, they seem to be surrounding themselves with some pretty fucking talented people to pull this off. So I think they'll be able to do it.
Now, is it still disconnected?
Yes.
It is 100%?
Yeah.
So Spider-Man can go into that world or not?
So it's separate from the MCU.
But not this...
But
SNU?
Yeah, but not... So it's still... Basically, Tom Holland Spider-Man can show up at some point. Probably won't in this particular movie, but I think he can show up in these solo films if needed, but those characters won't cross over into the MCU.
That's such a
shame. If that makes sense.
That's such a shame.
It is a shame.
I reckon we will see a crossover.
Look, I mean, our dream, as you know, is that, it's kind of one production company... to rule them all.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Where everybody just kind of shares everything and, it's all
why doesn't Disney just go buy Sony?
Yeah, Disney buy everything.
Yeah.
And then, I don't want everything to be Disney-fied, for the love of God. But, kind of what I'm trying to get at is we just want everyone, peace and harmony in the world, man.
Yeah.
Just sharing shit and working together.
And just make a buttload of money.
Making buttloads of money. I got one more news story for you.
Okay.
More.
This has to be the dangerous one to just cross off the list.
Oh, okay.
Make it dangerous.
I don't have anything that's dangerous.
Okay.
But
do it.
What I do have...
Do a handstand while you tell the story. They'll make it dangerous.
I can make it dangerous, right? Okay. So James Cameron and Tim Miller's Terminator 6 will reportedly enter production in early 2018, and The Hollywood Reporter reports that the film is set to arrive in theaters July 26th, 2019. I'll make it dangerous. Skynet.
Oh, shit.
Yeah, it's coming.
Oh, shit. That's really soon.
Yeah, it's really soon. And one of the other things I read is that they really want to capture or kind of work with the age of Arnold Schwarzenegger. They want to like really kind of buy into 70-year-old Arnie.
They kind of have
as
to.
the Terminator. Well, yeah, it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, if you just de-age him, then you're going back to like Terminator Salvation or anything like that. So, yeah, it's one of those things where they have to do it. But you are literally going to see a 70-year-old T-800 running around the place. Well, not running.
Do you think he'll be like a little bit rusty and creaky?
Oh, I think that would be fucking hilarious if they did it.
That would be amazing. Or like, his parts are starting to seize up a bit.
Yeah.
Like just like an old man.
Yeah. And he has to oil his hip.
Yeah.
And stuff like that every now and then. And I think we've spoken about this before, but this has officially been confirmed that this movie will take place not directly after, but it'll be a sequel to Terminator 2. And any of the other movies are now officially been listed as happening in a parallel universe.
Yes.
So none of those matter.
Thank the Terminator gods.
Yeah, so it is Terminator, T2, Judgment Day, and then this bad boy, even though it's Terminator 6.
Yeah.
So, however, that's the Terminator timeline for you, but yeah.
Look, I have a tangent thought about Terminators.
Yes.
Like the actual robots. How does this robot get energy?
I don't know, poppers?
You reckon?
Fruit juice?
Yeah, I think he runs off fruit juice.
Why?
It just occurred to me, like, if he's been around for, let's say, up to another 30 years,
yeah.
Like, if this thing runs off, say, a battery,
yeah.
Like, how will, like, maybe he's just running low on energy. That's how this Terminator is going to operate now.
Well, maybe. Maybe it's like, I don't know if they've ever actually discussed this before.
No.
I would assume it would be some sort of nuclear fuel cell or something like that, but surely that has to diminish over time, and how long can that really last for? So if someone out there can tell me,
maybe he's solar powered, mate. Maybe he's just like Superman.
Maybe he's solar powered, and that's why he spends all his time in California.
Yeah,
because it never rains in Southern California. Apparently, according to rap music. But yeah, it's always sunny and shit. So maybe he's solar powered. Maybe it's some sort of hybrid electricity, runs on thing, and he's got to go to one of those Prius plug-in stations every now and then. Yeah, and
where do you think he's
charge
plug
himself
is?
up? In his butt.
In his butt?
Or his dick.
Yeah, I was thinking his dick.
Yeah, and he has to plug his dick in to the actual socket.
Yeah,
on the wall.
That makes sense. It'd be awkward when he has to get down on the floor. Those ones are right down low.
I just had this vision of Arnold Schwarzenegger lying on his side, basically trying to fuck a socket.
Yeah. Look, I want to stick with one extra tiny news story, and this is the dangerous one.
Okay.
This is genuinely dangerous.
Okay.
Liam Neeson has unretired from action movies.
Oh, Liam Neeson's back, baby. It took him 2 weeks.
He's back.
Is this early onset dementia?
I think so. This man is in trouble. This is a
cry for help for sure. Somebody check on goddamn Liam Neeson, because he seems like he has lost his mind. How do you come back from that? How do you go, I'm retired from action movies, and then 2 weeks later I'm back? You know why? Somebody offered him a shit ton of money to do Taken 4, and he's like, fuck yeah, I'm unretired from action movies.
Let's load up the bank.
I can't imagine what else it would be. Why would you even announce it in the first place to only turn around a couple of weeks later and go, actually, you know what? I'm unretired. You're not Michael Jordan, dude. You can't just... You're not the Michael Jordan of action movies even.
No, he is. I'm
He's like Michael Jordan's granddad of action movies.
True. I'm coining a new phrase.
What's that?
And that's I'm Liam Neeson it.
Neeson it. Yeah.
And that's where... No. I'm Kevin Conroy in it. This is it.
Oh, Jesus.
Where you come out and you make a fucking ridiculous statement so you get into the news highlights again.
Yeah.
And then you just disappear.
Okay. I say Neeson it.
Yeah.
Because it's a little bit more high profile than a Kevin Conroy. So I say if ever you want to just make a bold, random fucking out there statement just to get your name out there, to then turn around and go... 2 weeks later, I'm going to reverse on that and get my name out there again. Anytime you want to say something stupid and then recant that a couple of weeks later, you're Neeson it. Red hot filmmaker Matthew Vaughn is back in cinemas this week with Kingsman: The Golden Circle, the follow-up to his 2014 sleeper hit Kingsman: The Secret Service. So we decided to don our best suits, open a bottle of our fun... Who am I kidding? We wore CC shirts, and we ate popcorn like the fatties that we are, all so we could bring you our Kingsman: The Golden Circle review. And don't act like you didn't, because I know you did.
I got the big popcorn this time.
I got the big popcorn to myself.
Yeah, I did. I had popcorn for dinner.
Like, literally, that was my dinner.
That was my dinner.
But then after the movie, I also got proper dinner.
Yeah. I went and got nuggets afterwards.
Dinner is the most important meal of the day.
So you better have two.
Yeah. Exactly. So, yes, we are here to review Kingsman: The Golden Circle. Cade, why don't you kick us off with a synopsis?
So, when their headquarters are destroyed and the world is held hostage, the Kingsman's journey leads them to discover an alleged spy organization in the US. These two elite secret organizations must band together to defeat a common enemy.
Oh, yeah.
Nailed it.
Apart
from like all my notifications that just went off on my phone right then. It's that damn Patreon group chat.
Well, hey, look, we are consummate professionals. So we're going to kick on. We're going to talk about some money. This movie's made. Now, this movie had a budget of $104 million, which is a step up of about $20 million from Kingsman 1.
Okay.
I think had a budget of about $85 million. So opening weekend hit $39 million, which is a little bit less than projected. They were looking at 40 plus, like in the 40s. So they fell just short, but it's still not bad. Also a bigger opening weekend than Kingsman 1, which you would expect.
Yeah, definitely. And, you know, it's kind of polarizing when you compare these opening numbers to the superhero movie genre.
Oh, well, considering this is effectively a comic book movie.
Absolutely.
You know, you can definitely call it that for sure. Yeah, 39 million is light in comparison to those, you know, when they open at like 90 to 100 to, you know, all that sort of stuff. But 39 million isn't anything to be, you know, kind of like sneezed at, if that's the saying. I don't even know what the saying is. The domestic total for this movie so far is $49.7 million, which brings it to a worldwide total so far, and it's only been out for about just over a week, of $118.3 million. So it's not going to make ridiculous amounts of money.
And I guess this movie kind of has the benefit that it doesn't have a huge marketing budget that you need with superhero movies.
Yeah, well, that's right.
So it'll be interesting to see if it went with the 50-50 rule.
Well, yeah, the safe rule is double your money, and anything above that, you're in the black.
Yeah.
So if they can hit $200 million, which, you know, I'm pretty sure they'll be able to hit, if they can hit $200 million, then, you know, they'll be fine. And we'll get that Kingsman 3, which Matthew Vaughn is pretty much already writing. So regardless of what anybody thinks about this particular movie, yeah, Kingsman 3 is coming.
Fantastic.
And they should, I would hazard to guess around the $300 to $350 million mark, I would say.
Okay.
For this movie worldwide. It could completely prove me wrong.
Hopefully.
Now, the cast. Taron Egerton as Eggsy.
Oh, gorgeous, man. We have Colin Firth as Harry Hart.
Mark Strong as Merlin.
Pedro Pascal as Agent Whiskey.
Julianne Moore as Poppy.
With Channing Tatum as Agent Tequila. Jeff Bridges as Agent Champ. Do not call in champagne.
Such a weird name, too, by the way.
That is a weird name. Halle Berry as Ginger Ale and Sophie Cookson as Roxy.
For about 2 seconds.
Yeah, not much.
Now, but we're not going to get into any spoilers first, as we, you know, it is directed by Matthew Vaughn, as we spoke about before. So what we're going to do, as we always do, is we're going to have a brief overall kind of summary, spoiler-free, all that sort of stuff. We'll tell you what we think, then we'll kick into some spoilers. So, Cade, overall thoughts on Kingsman: The Golden Circle?
Kingsman: The Golden Circle is how I like my spy movies, I realized.
Really?
The modern-day James Bond movies aren't for me anymore. This is how a spy movie should be.
How so?
It's fun. It's cheesy. It's, you know, it's tongue-in-cheek a lot of the time. I love the gadgets. Like, the gadgets they're insane gadgets.
Yeah.
Insane villains. It's almost like every villain's ending the world.
Yeah.
Got that with the first movie. Got this with the second movie.
Yeah.
I really like that aspect of it being over the top.
Okay. I wanted to like this movie.
Yeah.
Like, I really did. This was, for me, this was like, I was hanging out for this movie because I love Kingsman, The Secret Service. I've seen it 1,000 times, I think. I really, really do like that movie. This, to me, it's kind of like, I know with a sequel you need to kind of, double down on your action. You need to make it bigger. You need to do all this sort of stuff. That's fine. And the action scenes in this movie are phenomenal. The opening scene, the car chase through the streets of London.
Amazing.
Absolutely amazing. The camera work, the direction, all that, in that scene is fantastic. The plot of this movie is like, it's almost non-existent. It's so like it's weak, and they don't really do anything to kind of like, nobody has a real character arc in this movie. There are some absolutely ridiculous things that we need to talk about when we get to spoilers.
Yes, indeed.
That it's just like, why? Like, why is that happening? The pacing was the biggest problem with this.
Oh, really?
Yeah, for me. So this is a 2.5 hour long movie. Basically, it's not quite there, but it's well above 2 hours. Now, you've got probably what you can narrow down to 4 main action sequences.
Yes.
Right? Now, the beginning sequence and the end sequence were fantastic, and the ones in the middle were good too. It's not about that. But everything that happened in between those sequences seemed to drag, to the point of, like, why are we spending so much time here? Why are they going up to the Alps to do this when, there seems to be, like, why are we spending so much time at the Glastonbury music festival?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. Like, every little plot beat between the action sequences seemed to take way too long.
Yeah,
for me.
I'll actually agree with you on that, because we see scenes with the president that are, like, you don't even need to have the American president in this movie. It's completely unnecessary. That scene there was literally needed for one particular storyline that you didn't even need anyway later in the movie.
Yep.
So yeah, I will agree. Like, you could probably cut at least 25% of this movie out to make it better.
Well, here's the thing, and I was going to save this for trivia later, but the director's cut of this film is 80 minutes longer.
How?
There is 80 minutes more film out there that Matthew Vaughn has cut down to almost 2.5 hours.
Wow.
And, like, I'm sorry, but, like, while the movie itself to look at is beautiful, like, it's just paced so poorly that, like, it really took me out of it. It's like, can we move on? Like, do we need another Elton John scene? Do we need, like, do we need to be spending this much time, like, in the lab at, with the statesman and stuff like that?
Yep.
So, yeah.
Yep. No, I would agree with you on that. Good find.
Yeah.
Well done.
Thank you. Look, overall though, like, like I said, the action sequences can't be beat. Like, they're fantastic. It's like taking that one church scene from Kingsman: The Secret Service, and then doing it 4 times throughout this movie.
And that's exactly it. I mean, I watch these movies practically back to back.
Yeah.
So between the first one and the second one, it's kind of polarizing in some scenes, like, as you said, the I guess the run sheet of it. Damn, that's a loud motorbike.
That is a loud motorbike.
But yeah, we effectively got 3 to 4 church scenes in this second movie.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, if you're going to see this movie, just see it for those scenes, because you will never find another movie that is shot like that.
Yeah.
It is so unique. It's amazing.
Yeah. So basically what we see, and I don't think it's like spoilery to say that, we meet the statesmen in the US. We won't really talk about why we meet them or anything like that. But basically we end up meeting the statesmen in the US, and the Kingsmen have to team up with their US counterparts, the statesmen. And you've got Channing Tatum as Agent Tequila. You've got Pedro Pascal as Agent Whiskey. And as you said before, you got Jeff Bridges as Champ and Halle Berry as Ginger Ale. 3 of the 4 of them are completely useless.
Absolutely.
There is absolutely no need for Jeff Bridges, Halle Berry, and for some fucking bizarre reason, Channing Tatum. Channing Tatum turns up and then disappears quicker than he turns up.
I think he may have had a combined total time of about 3 minutes in this movie.
I think like he had one kind of action scene, one fight scene with where he kind of took on Eggsy and Merlin, which was pretty cool when they first met.
That takes up about the first 2 minutes.
Yep,
of his
so that's 2 minutes
time.
of his screen time, and then you basically kind of get to see him for maybe 3 more lines of dialogue for the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
and then he kind of turns up at the end. Now it's it's tough not to talk about that more without getting into spoilers. So maybe look, do you recommend people see this movie?
Yeah, absolutely. This movie is a really fun time.
Yep.
If you enjoyed the first movie, you're going to enjoy the second one. Just don't get the large drink because it is a long movie.
Oh, hell yeah. I went with 3 other people. Everyone peed before except me. So I was the only one that was, by the end of it, was kind of like, oh my God, get me out of this cinema.
Yeah.
I need to pee so bad. I also will give it a recommend, not as highly. Like, it is good. It's a good follow-up. It kind of pales in comparison to the original, but it's definitely still worth your time for some good action sequences and stuff like that. Interesting to see what they do with the third when it comes. I wanted to like it a lot more than I did, though, so I will throw that out there. It kind of shit me to tears at points.
Yep.
Let's move into spoiler territory, my friend.
All right. Where do you want to start? Because I can start with we've spoken. Let's talk about the heroes.
Okay.
Eggsy, he was great.
Eggsy was great, but Eggsy didn't have an arc. Like, this is
No.
the whole thing. Like, the whole first movie revolved around Eggsy. There's kind of like this street rat who, like, became like a swan rat by the end of it. Whatever, a fancy rat is by the end of it.
Yeah,
but,
definitely.
But you know what I mean? He had his whole, like, the whole thing revolved around him in the first movie. In the second movie, it's basically, will he stay with his girlfriend kind of thing.
Yeah.
The Swedish princess from the first movie. They're still together.
Yeah, definitely. And I guess this is kind of like where he becomes like and I'm putting bunny ears here, a James Bond, where he goes, this is the mission and this is where I got to do it.
Yeah, it's kind of like, he's already kind of at that
absolute elite top level.
Yeah, he's kind of replaced Harry Hart as
Yep.
Galahad, because he, obviously Harry died in the first movie, as we know, but did he? No, turns out he didn't, which was
kind of given away in every trailer that you see.
every trailer. You knew he was coming back. You just didn't really know how he was coming back, and I guess with how they brought him back as well was kind of not like I didn't buy into it at all, unfortunately. It's kind of like Halle Berry is monitoring some sort of weird like wavelengths or something, and then I don't know, they decide they need to be at the church, and then they find like Harry there and they wrap something around his head and save his life. How quickly can you possibly get, like, I know that happened in America, so like Harry was in America when that happened, so that's fine. Like, it's not like they had to fly over continents or anything like that, but still, it's kind of like, they've gone from where they're based in Kentucky to wherever he was, and it's kind of like they got there quick enough to like wrap his head, save his life, but yeah.
Yeah, it kind of seems like the whole getting shot in the head thing isn't such a bad thing.
Yeah.
And like, I can buy into like weird fucking shit, but that was just a little bit too far-fetched even for a fucking spy movie.
Yeah.
The whole amnesia arc was terrible.
Yeah.
Like, it was just terrible.
It wasn't handled well. And then even after, like, they go through these things where basically what they're trying to do, the statesmen have Harry, and they're trying to get him to, remember who he is and all that sort of stuff. Halle Berry says that they've tried everything.
They tried one thing, and they tried to drown him. And
so they're trying to go through some sort of like shock treatment to kind of like shock him into remembering who he is. So they tried drowning him. Didn't work, and Halle Berry's basically like, well, we fucking tried everything. What are we going to do?
yeah. And
I'm so sorry.
Yeah, I'm so sorry. He's fucked, mate.
He's lost to you now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You might as well just go out the back and put another bullet in his head.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was a really, really odd bit of dialogue. Maybe there was a fair bit of scenes cut. Like, if there's another 80 minutes to this movie, maybe there were scenes where they tried to do multiple other things to jog his memory.
Yeah.
And that's the only thing that I could really think of there, because it's just like, you literally have tried one thing and it didn't work.
Yeah, basically.
Like, that is not giving it a go, mate.
Not at all. And then, so basically, we get to this point where Eggsy uses like a puppy to kind of, like he kind of makes him remember his dog that he had to like pretend to shoot when he first became a Kingsman and stuff like that. And that is the one that works. But then how they kind of play it out from there is that, Harry isn't quite field ready yet decides he's going to be in the field at all times.
Yeah.
And basically is that plot point as to why things happen to them, because he isn't quite ready to be in the field and he keeps seeing butterflies and stuff, which is
very, very odd, because we see when it comes to, is it Agent Whiskey?
Yeah.
Later on, he gets shot.
Yeah.
He doesn't seem to be as affected by this trauma as...
Well, we need to talk about this first. So this is kind of... So Agent Whiskey is Pedro Pascal. They kind of have to team up to take down Poppy, who we haven't even spoken about yet, but that's Julianne Moore's villain. So both the Kingsman and the Statesman have to team up. They want to take down Poppy. Now, Pedro Pascal is the main kind of good guy, you would call him, to start off with. So he's the main good guy from the Statesman.
He's their lead agent.
Because the whole thing with Poppy is that she has laced all of her drugs. She like controls whatever percentage of the world's drug trade. It's like 90-something% or something crazy like that. She says something along the lines of she has a $250 billion a year empire or some crap like that, but no one knows who she is because she does drugs.
Yeah.
So her whole plan is that she laces all of her drugs with this virus, which is never really explained how it happened, how she even laced it with this virus, what the virus is. None of that is fleshed out. All that happens is basically all the drug users in the world start to fall sick
and get the blue rash.
Initially, which is what happens to Channing Tatum. So we find out very quickly that Channing Tatum is also he's a recreational weed user, and
it's only alluded that it might be weed. He could be a heavy user.
Well, he could be a heavy like crack user. Who knows? So anyway, so he gets this blue rash and basically straight away is like, put into a cryo fucking stasis machine or something like that. So Channing Tatum is gone. Now Channing Tatum, who like is in all the promotional artwork and like, he's been in all the trailers and all this sort of stuff. They're just like, actually Channing Tatum is barely in this movie and it's all Pedro Pascal. So please follow this guy instead. Now that we've got you to the cinema because we tricked you into thinking that Channing Tatum was in this movie.
Can I just say, Channing Tatum isn't looking that fit.
Well, not in this particular. He's got a bit of a fat neck going on.
He does, doesn't he?
Yeah. But, he mightn't have been movie ready. And that might have been the reason, like, as in, like, he might have been doing he might have had another gig that, like, crossed over with shooting schedules and stuff like that. Like, who knows what was actually happening. But for some bizarre reason, they decided to take him out of this movie. Anyway, whole point, getting back to your point, Pedro Pascal is the guy, he's Agent Whiskey, so he's the guy that we're with the Statesman, like, this whole time. And they do end up going out into the field, and yes, so Harry believes that Whiskey is, like, a double agent, and so he shoots him in the head without a second thought. Now, everybody believes, including Eggsy, that Harry has just lost his shit because he's been seeing butterflies and all that sort of stuff, right? Now, getting back to your point, I think the reason why there's a difference between how Harry and Whiskey react is because Eggsy is right there on the scene and basically puts the pad over his head straight away.
Oh, right.
Whereas, when you're talking about Harry and when Ginger Ale and Whiskey got to him, it might have been like quite some time before they actually got there.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, so the way I look at it is like, yes, it's ridiculous that they do one thing and he comes back, but I explain it in my own head is in the timing of the trauma. So, where Harry has been on the ground for God knows how long before he's finally got the wrap put around his head, whereas, Agent Whiskey is there for seconds.
Yes.
Before he has it put around his head. So, That's how I play that off.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's fair.
Anyway, it turns out he's a bad dude. But he's not a bad dude.
He's not. Yeah, it's like his motives are like not super evil. He's just greedy.
Yeah, well, it's not even greed. It's just it's kind of like rage almost. It's kind of like, you know,
he has a vendetta with a price tag that comes with it.
Well, so they played it weird in the sense, like, they played it good. I like the fact that he wasn't on, like, Poppy's payroll, which is probably where everybody thought it was going to go. It's like, oh, he's just, he's in there for the money and all that sort of stuff. What he's actually in there for is basically some crackheads killed his wife. And so now he kind of wants all drug users dead.
Yeah.
Why not? He doesn't care. He's like, fuck them. If that's the way they want to, like, use their lives, then they can die for it.
And that's a really weird premise because, like, we already had the president who was pretty much under that same kind of mindset. So it's weird to have, like, two characters that are going on that same path, same journey, with the same end goal.
Yeah, it's kind of bizarre. But like you said before, that whole presidential thing did not need to be in there at all.
Exactly.
That's kind of like, I feel like that is Matthew Vaughn's attempt to kind of throw like a Trump-esque character into this movie and kind of have it like, hey, look at this current political kind of situation that I'm trying to like point fingers at and stuff like that. You know what I mean? And it just didn't work. It was completely unnecessary.
Yeah, absolutely. Considering these two characters have the same story.
Yep.
No point.
Now, Eggsy, like I said, didn't really have much of a story arc. Eggsy also lost a couple of best mates pretty quickly.
Absolutely.
And didn't really seem to phase him, and we never got that payoff. Like, when you get, like, basically the only kind of payoff you get with him losing one of his best mates and Roxy is the fact, and his dog, mind you, is the fact that him and Merlin kind of get drunk over a bottle of whiskey that they find, basically when they're kind of looking for this, end scenario, like world-ending scenario fixer or whatever. I don't know.
I'll put that down to their training.
Yeah.
Like he's been kind of drilled in to say, you got to keep your shit together until you don't need to.
Well, Merlin says it to him. Like, he says it to him at the start. He's like, we need to fix this. We need to, like, you got to think about your training. We got to get all this shit done. We need to fucking get the Kingsman back together. We need to find out who did this, and then you can cry. You know what I mean? Like, then you can shed a tear for your friends. Right. But they don't. Like at no point at the end, it finishes on a wedding, basically.
Yeah.
And it's kind of like, there is no more mention of, like, there's not a visit to the grave. There's not, like, anything like that. Like, his two best mates are kind of jumping for joy because the other best mate doesn't die because he smokes crack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, they're not even concerned that their third best mate is actually dead. So, again, it could be left on the cutting room floor because it mightn't have necessarily seemed pertinent to the movie that Matthew Vaughn was making. But to me, it kind of seems like it's out of character for Eggsy, who cared so much that, Roxy, who, like, he went through all his training with and, was like his partner in the field and all that sort of stuff. Like, she died and then his best mate died and all that sort of stuff. So, yeah, I don't know. It was a bit weird. A couple more things I want to talk about.
Okay.
Have to talk about.
Okay.
This whole Glastonbury thing. This whole thing. This whole weird, I'm going to show you this close-up version of Eggsy fingering this girl decision of Matthew Vaughn. I really, really didn't get it.
Yeah.
To me, it was like, why? Like, that's not a boundary that needs to be pushed, dude. Like, it's not what your movie is about.
I know. And I went and saw this movie with my brother, and he even looked at me. He's like, what the fuck?
Yeah.
Like,
too much.
It was too much. Like, I'm all for, like, you can have crude humor and, you can have very sexualized humor. But this is just, like, nasty.
Well, this is a whole scene that played out. Basically surrounding, like, the use of a finger condom to place a tracker inside of the girlfriend of the second, like, the henchman to Poppy, to track him, to find her, like, all this sort of stuff. Like, it was just completely unnecessary. And I really think the whole scene was built so they could just do that visual thing, like just that kind of like that shock, like, hey, here's a hand sliding into some like panties, and then here's an internal shot of a vagina, you guys.
Very unnecessary. I'm wondering if it was a product placement for that festival.
Oh, maybe.
And that's the only thing I could think of, like, why this whole scene was put into this movie.
Well,
they could have spiked the drink. They could have done 100 other things.
100 other things that they could have possibly done that would have been a little less crude. The only thing that makes sense is, like, this is basically the only kind of, like, good thing that comes out of this scene. And that's the fact that Eggsy basically, calls his girlfriend and says, hey, like, you know what I do for a living? I need to have sex with this girl for a mission. Are you cool with it? So instead of just going and, like, just randomly just fucking her and dealing with the consequences later, like, he actually does the right thing, and he calls her up and he says, hey, look, I care about you, all this sort of stuff, but like, this is something that I have to do. Are you cool with it?
And this is probably the only character arc that we get out of Eggsy, really.
Yeah. So this is the thing. Like, just have him have sex with her then.
Yeah.
Like, if that's what it takes, like, just do that. And you don't have to have a graphic sex scene or anything like that. But, like, for it to be some weird, like, fingering. Fingering is such a weird word to say, by the way. But, yeah, it's some sort of weird, like, fingering thing. I don't want to dwell on it for too long. I just thought it was really, like, out there and unnecessary. And I think it was purely just done as the shock. The other thing I want to talk about is Elton John.
Yeah.
Elton John is actually in our town as we speak.
Yep, he's literally just down the road.
He is performing one show, I think. One show only.
Yeah.
Which I believe is tonight.
It is tonight.
Yes. So he's performing a show
We
in our
have been
town.
offered tickets.
We have, but we're not going to go. I've seen enough of Elton John this week.
Yeah, me too, mate.
Look, it was funny. And I get it. Like, I was, for a while, I was trying to figure out if that was actually Elton John.
Yeah, so was I.
Or if it was just some, like, kind of, body, like, double or whatever. Like, what are those things called? Whether it's just, like...
Impersonator.
Impersonator, yeah. Like an Elton John impersonator. But actually, it was Elton John, and that's cool. And, like, there was some funny beats in it and stuff like that. Elton John had more screen time than Channing fucking Tatum.
And how ridiculous is that?
Yeah,
it
that's
truly
crazy.
is. He had more action scenes.
As many, he had as many.
It's unbelievable. Yeah, like some of the way this movie was kind of done in some areas was very, very, very odd.
Yeah. I've heard I've listened to a few different people's reactions to this movie, and some people either like they really, really like the Elton John stuff, or they didn't. I kind of fall somewhere in the middle. Like
I was 50-50.
Yeah, like I thought it was funny. I just didn't. I think it went on for too long.
Yes.
It's like you don't need to keep coming back to Elton John. We get it. He's there. Like, yes, it's some comedic moments and things like that. But, is it all necessary? You could have just done with a couple and left it at that. But, like, it's fine. But the thing I wanted to bring up more is the fact that Elton John had more screen time than Channing Tatum in this movie, which I think is just absolutely bizarre.
It is. Now, look, I'm going to talk about the thing that really let this movie down.
Yeah.
And that's the villain.
Oh, Poppy.
We go back to the first movie. We had Samuel Jackson as our villain.
Yep.
We had
And he was probably the weakest point of that movie, too.
He was, but his assistant wasn't.
Yeah.
That was amazing. Yeah. Whereas Poppy was this kind of like figurehead for this organization.
Yeah.
Kind of the person behind the scenes pulling the strings, which you can understand for something like this.
Yeah.
But she didn't have any like a second in command or anything like that, really.
Oh, she had that Max dude.
But he wasn't really a threat to anyone but Eggsy.
Well, he wasn't really a threat to anyone.
Yeah. And that's the problem. Like, he was kind of there as a as a rival?
Yeah, almost. Yeah. So he is a henchman, but his story is, it's basically intertwined with Eggsy's, and that's it.
And that's it. Like, he was no threat to anyone else.
Yeah.
And Eggsy just really kind of took care of him quite easily.
Yeah. Yeah, I would agree. Whereas Sophia Boutella's character in the first movie, and I can't remember her name, but
she was dangerous.
Her on those
sexy
kangaroo legs with with the knives that come out, and she's like cutting dudes in half and like left, right, and center. Like, she was kick ass. And that's, a Matthew Vaughn reference because he also directed Kick-Ass.
Hey.
But yeah, she was amazing.
Yep.
So where Samuel L. Jackson fell down, his henchman was great. Where Poppy falls down, she doesn't have a henchman like that to fall back on because he's also quite shit.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but for me, it was her motivations. Like, I understand what she's trying to do. Like, she's trying to basically legalize the drug trade so she can become an actual, genuine businesswoman and then step out into the real world and be like, the leader of the drug business.
I get it. Like, I get it.
My whole problem is what I spoke about before in the fact like that, yes, she's kind of like laced all of her drugs with like, with this virus, but then it's kind of like, how did you do that?
Yeah.
What is the virus? Where did you get it from? Okay, so yes, you're assuming that they're going to like, quarantine these people, but then you've got drones that can, and like you have worldwide drones. Like how many drones do you have?
Yeah.
Like that are going to like take, do you know the exact right amount of like,
affected people.
Yeah, and like, do you have the exact amount of antidote that you need? And like, how do you know all these things?
It's such a flawed plan.
It was very weak. And then, so like all of these people are dying or on the verge of dying, and that seemed to like transition quite differently as well. Like, for like how quickly some people went from paralysis to death.
Yeah.
As opposed to like, how important are you to the plot? Is how slowly you die.
Yeah. Yeah,
basically.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
It was also like it's such a bad brand recognition for herself if she wants to go, I guess, public.
Yeah.
In the sense like, all those drugs that you buy from me, I've laced those ones, but I promise the ones you get in the future won't be laced.
Yeah. Like, how do you know that everything that you have sent out that has been laced has been used?
Exactly. And that's the other thing I was about to say is like, oh, and by the way, if you get sick from the other stuff, that's on you.
Yeah.
For buying my bad drugs.
Yeah. Because, like I have, I've done this now. I've now cleared myself of it.
Yeah.
The rest is on you, pal, if you want to continue to use potentially tainted drugs. One more thing that I wanted to speak about is Merlin, because this is probably the only actual genuine arc that we had that kind of meant anything. So this is basically Merlin who has to sacrifice himself at the end to get Eggsy and Harry into the compound. And while it was unfortunately done to a John Denver song, and I fucking hate John Denver, and I cannot stand Take Me Home Country Road or any of that other crap, and it's the third fucking time we've heard it in a movie this year.
Twice in this movie.
Yeah, but I think, like, with him, like, it was actually, like I said, it was the only emotional kind of, like, ending to a character. Now, initially, he wasn't going to die.
Really?
Yeah, and when they tested that with audiences, they kind of felt cheated because it's like, why give us this big emotional build-up only to then comically bring him back with no legs and, then he gets, like, mechanical legs and stuff like that. So they cut that out and they actually had him die because it meant more emotionally to the audience. And I think that worked. So that's smart. So, like, I appreciated that, but that is realistically, to me, the only emotional story that we had in this movie. And we had people dead set die. And
all over the place.
Yeah, and we had a character from the first movie die, and it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
All the Kingsmen everywhere were wiped out except the last couple, and it didn't really matter at all. Now, it ends with Channing Tatum coming back into the fray, and he basically, the last time we see him, he is in a suit and a bowler hat in London, going to be a Kingsman, it would seem. And I think that's where they're going to go with the third movie, and it will be the team up between Eggsy and Channing Tatum to take on some shit.
Yeah.
Which I think sounds cool.
It can sound cool.
But I felt gypped.
Yeah, he was I was totally gypped this movie. Needed more Tatum.
Give me more Tatum. Now, one thing that I will mention before we go into final thoughts. I know it sounds like we've been pretty down on this movie. I have, because I am actually down on this movie. But the action sequences are fantastic. And that whole end scene, from the time they get into the compound to the time they basically take down Poppy, that whole thing was fucking fantastic. And it's their final fight scene with Pedro Pascal and stuff like that as well. His agent Whiskey, with his electric lasso / electric whip / guns that seemingly have limitless ammo,
don't get me started
stuff
on that.
like that. But you have to understand how well these action sequences are done, and they are done
Absolutely.
fucking brilliantly. So they are worth the price of admission themselves.
100% agree on that.
I will give you that, but just be warned: the movie is long and it drags. Anything else you wanted to discuss?
No, I think we've really covered everything off. Halle Berry's character arc was
Pointless,
and it was telegraphed from the time she came on screen.
Yeah.
Where she goes, I want to be a field agent.
but they just never let me.
And
For some reason, Whiskey always denies me. And it's like, oh, cool. So Whiskey's a bad guy. We now know that.
Yep.
Halle Berry's definitely going to get his spot at the end. We know that. And it's like, yeah, like, what is the point of you?
Yeah, like, if you can really read into the plot of these movies, you can guess the shit pretty quickly early on.
100%.
One problem that I did have is that the I've actually gone blank on the name.
Jeff Bridges.
No, the agent who lost the eye, got shot in the head.
Harry. Yeah.
There was almost really no consequence for him actually shooting an agent in the head.
No, none.
None. Because he actually wasn't doing anything wrong just yet.
Yeah, exactly.
Like, there was nothing to allude to the fact that, hey, this guy is a double agent, because he wasn't a double agent.
Yeah, and they kind of just let him go.
Yeah.
It's kind of like, oh, okay, we understand you might still be a bit kind of scrambled from, also being shot in the head yourself, but, maybe don't shoot our agents in the head in the future if you can.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
It was,
Yeah.
they actually offered a spot there to him.
Yeah.
Like, I just do not get the logic.
Well, by that stage, they had figured out that Pedro Pascal's character was in fact bad, so he did the right thing. And then he obviously also got his shit together in that final sequence, and like they had, you could tell that he was back to top-notch Harry form by that point in the movie. So that kind of makes sense to me that they would like offer him a spot. But man, there is you're pushing some things.
But I mean, it's an elaborate spy movie.
Yep.
I loved it.
Yeah, look.
I had so much fun with it.
Cool, that's good.
Bit too long.
Yep.
Does it hold up to the first one? No. I feel like the villains in the first one is what made the difference. And while you said Samuel L. Jackson was the weakest point of the first movie,
Yeah.
I also thought he was like a great character to that movie. He may not have been a fantastic villain, but he was like almost the comic relief in that movie, which you never get from a villain.
Yeah.
Which is like the unique part, is why I love that part so much.
Well, see, so yeah, I get that. One bit of trivia, just because you know how you're saying you don't get a lot of comic relief from the villain. So Julianne Moore actually based her characterization of Poppy on Gene Hackman's version of Lex Luthor from Superman.
Yeah, really.
So it was kind of that like real sort of eccentric, over the top kind of like
I could see that.
Yeah, so that's kind of where she was trying to go with it. I just don't think it worked for her. It just didn't seem to work. But you could tell that it's kind of like, is it funny? Like, is it like she's just like this real sweet, but at the same time, like if you listen to the words she's saying, it's kind of like real sadistic.
Yeah.
And like all that sort of stuff. But it didn't kind of really work. I guess it did work a little bit more with Samuel L. Jackson's character, with the comic relief and all that, and the baseball caps and the lisp and the hates the sight of blood and like all that sort of stuff. Yeah. With the first movie, I think it's what makes it so endearing was its unpredictability, right? Kind of like Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 1, in the sense of you didn't know what you were going to get, and what you got was fucking amazing.
That's right.
And you're just like, holy shit. And you get to this church scene, and it's like, what the fuck was that? That is the best shit I've ever seen. And then right after the church scene, the main dude just gets shot right in the face, and then it's up to the kid. You know what I mean? And it's like, it was so unpredictable, and it was so well done that it was always going to be hard for the second movie to top that. What the second movie has done, though, is it's basically taken all the best things from the first movie and it's tried to rehash them.
Yeah, just doubled it up.
Yeah. And it just didn't work. And that's very similar to what Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 did. Now, was Guardians of the Galaxy Volume 2 a bad movie? No. Was this a bad movie? No. Was it as enjoyable as the first? No. Would I watch it again in a hurry? Probably not. But, you know, it had some good things going for it.
It had sequelitis.
Yeah, basically. That's pretty much exactly it. I might have gone in with too high an expectation because of how much I like the Secret Service. So I will give it that. Keep your expectations low.
Keep them moderate, I say.
Yeah. But I would, if we're getting to this point, I would rate it.
Yep.
Go and see it. Make up your own mind, but it is very divisive amongst fans right now. They are either hating it or they are loving it.
Yeah, this one is one of the movies, and this is an action movie that I would say, wait for it to come on Netflix.
Yeah. While the action scenes are brilliant, you probably don't need to see them in a cinema.
No, not at all.
But yeah, look, hey. Kingsman, man. It is what it is.
That would normally take us to our listener questions, but we're in a little bit of a fluster fuck this morning.
A fluster fuck.
We've thrown it. See, we usually record at night with beers.
Yeah.
And we kind of switched it on its head today. We're recording early morning.
With coffees.
With coffees.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's weird.
So we don't know what's happening.
They're not Irish coffees. There's like no whiskey or anything in there.
Just regular coffees. Just regular ones.
Just regular ones. So today we decided, let's talk about some shows that you should be watching because we haven't been talking about any TV shows lately or anything like that.
Yeah.
So Troy, what's something that you're watching at the moment?
Basically the only thing that I'm watching right now is Doctor Who. And it's on Stan and Netflix. You can get 9 out of the 10 seasons of the new version, the modern era Doctor Who. And I decided that I'd start from season 1 and work my way through all 10 seasons to catch up to the 13th Doctor when she kicks off in season 11.
Holy moly. How many episodes is that?
That is, it's about 167 episodes, not including specials.
That's bloody ridiculous, man.
Yeah, so I am now I'm almost halfway through season 6. So I'm into the Matt Smith era of Doctor Who, and I haven't seen any of these before, and this is why I wanted to go and do it because like there are a lot of people that are like Whovians and all that sort of stuff. They're very big Doctor Who fans, and I kind of remember it as a kid, like the classic era Doctor Who, and I remember like Tom Baker and all that sort of stuff, and like kind of seeing that on TV, or did I? Like I don't know, like I kind of remember it. So you know, there's that, and because of like there is such a fan base behind it, I wanted to go and see what it was all about. So I started, you know, I was told maybe start at season 5, start in the Matt Smith era and work forward, but I'm like, no. That's not how I do things.
I'm doing everything.
I go balls deep, and I'm going to start from season 1, episode 1, and yeah, I'm loving it, man. I'm absolutely loving it. So I highly recommend, if you haven't watched any Doctor Who and that sort of stuff does interest you, then go and check it out, man, because it's great, and it doesn't like does the quality dip? It dips per episode, not per season. So you might get a couple of shitty episodes in a season or something like that. But
so it does the Gotham.
Yeah, basically. But wow, no. Like I don't want to compare the two, but the seasons as a whole always turn out to be great. But you could pick a couple of episodes out of that season where you could have gone, well, I probably didn't need to watch that or something like that. You know what I mean?
There you go.
So that is taking up all of my time right now.
Wow.
I occasionally get to watch a few other things here and there. But yeah, Doctor Who, what about yourself?
At the moment, I just finished watching Preacher Season 2.
Nice.
And there's been a lot of mixed opinions on Season 2.
I am one of them.
You are one of them. You loved Season 1. I don't know if you love Season 1, but you seem to enjoy Season 1.
I enjoyed Season 1.
I thought Season 1 was great. Season 2 is pretty much the same, if not a little bit better, in my opinion.
Yeah.
You got to get back onto the Preacher horse, mate. It has been a fantastic back end to the season.
Okay. Because that's my struggle. Like, you know, I have gotten 4 episodes into Season 2.
Yeah.
And I just can't get past it. Like, when I jump on and it's like, what am I going to watch today? Preacher is always there. Like,
Yeah.
it keeps coming up in Stan, and it's like, continue watching. And I'm like, nah, I'm going to watch this other thing instead first. I keep putting it off because it's not grabbing me. It seems to be like just a lot of the same.
Yeah.
And, you know...
I can let you know it does change almost at episode 5.
Okay.
Because they have the journey to find God.
Yeah.
And then something happens.
Okay. That's kind of my problem, I guess. So hopefully, yes, if that happens, that's good. Because what's kind of happening now is just the same shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And
Go in here, try find God. Go there.
Saint of Killers turns up, shoots everything up.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, we'll move to here. We'll do this. Same thing happens. Saint of Killers turns up, shoots the place up. Then they go to over here. You know what I mean? And that's kind of where it is for me at the moment.
And it changes quite dramatically from that. So I recommend getting back on there. Just finish it off. There's only a handful of episodes. It's only 13.
Yeah.
So check it out.
I'm also not digging the Jesse and Tulip vibe.
Really?
At the moment either. I don't really buy it as, you know, the kind of it is kind of completely different to how it is in the comics, and I don't want to be that guy because I know they're taking liberties and stuff like that, and that's fine. I'm 100% cool with them taking liberties. It's just like I don't see it between the two of them. Like, you know, it's just like you're actually quite annoying to each other.
Can I give you one little bit of a spoiler?
Yes.
Their relationship doesn't actually blossom in the season. So
okay. Interesting.
Knowing that, you know, you don't actually have to care about that relationship happening.
Okay.
Because it doesn't happen.
Look, I'm interested to see what they do. Like, I will get back to it. You know, I'm obviously missing something because there are a lot of people out there that do speak highly of Season 2. I am just not one of them so far. But yes, I need to get back into it. Now that the season is finished, maybe now that I can binge it, and I don't have to wait week for episodes, like, maybe that will help. Because having to watch an episode and then wait a full week, I just found myself not caring. So I think I've let it slip, and now maybe, I'll try to binge it and see if that helps.
Another show that I've been watching is I jumped back onto Gotham this week.
Oh, damn, you did it.
I
haven't done it yet.
Not good.
Oh, really?
Not good, mate. I know this is a comic book world, right? And I'm trying so hard to like just go, everything is plausible.
Yep.
Bruce cannot be doing what he's doing.
Really?
He cannot be.
Why?
Because
is he almost like at full-on vigilante mode?
100%.
As a skinny 14-year-old kid?
Yeah.
Okay.
You just watched the first episode because that's all I've watched so far.
Okay.
And you're just
you're one episode in.
One episode in, I'm ready to give up.
Really?
Yeah, it's just I can almost buy into anything, Troy.
Yeah.
But this I cannot.
Excellent.
I'm looking at dropping this and getting onto the new Star Trek.
Oh, nice. Yeah, that is something that did drop this week. Definitely something I want to check out. 2 episodes out already, I believe.
Okay.
They dropped the first 2 together. Definitely very keen to check that out. I do want to get to it. I'm just so deep into Doctor Who, I don't really know what I've got time for. Have you checked out The Orville yet?
No, I haven't.
Right, because that's a few episodes in as well, and I haven't gotten to it yet either. I have heard very mixed reviews for that as well.
I heard it came out the gate strong.
Yep.
And that's about it.
Right.
I've heard it and then I haven't heard anything about it since. So
okay.
I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing.
Yep.
I guess no news is good news.
Yeah. Or if you're a Kardashian, any publicity is good publicity.
Well, yeah.
So you could play it either way, champ. That's what we're watching. What are you guys watching?
Let us know.
Let us know.
Troy, what is next week?
Next week is New York Comic Con. Wow. So we are probably going to get hit with a whole bunch of shit. If I don't get a Punisher release date by next weekend, I am going to legitimately riot somewhere. You know, that's all I want.
There are rumors that it's just going to drop any time.
Yeah.
Could be out right now.
It's not.
It could
but
be.
It could be. It could be out now because we've spent like an hour or so away from the TV.
Well, that's true.
So I'll have to go and check that out. New York Comic Con, and that's what we'll be talking about. We'll be wrapping up the news from New York Comic Con next week. And then we move into, our Blade Runner 2049 review the week after. So that's the upcoming couple of weeks. Have you seen Blade Runner yet?
No.
You should probably get onto that at some point because it's going to take you a week.
Yeah.
Just to watch it. It's I think it's a fantastic movie, but it is pretty slow. So you've got to give yourself, get yourself mentally prepared to be standing in the dark streets being rained on, because that's kind of what happens for most of the movie.
True.
And we're going to talk about Blade Runner 2049 and maybe get that Justice League trailer.
Oh, baby.
Oh, baby.
Troy, where can the people find us?
They can find us on all sorts of social media. We have Facebook. You just search us, Comic Confidential. You can join the listener community. That's Comic Confidential listener community, where you can join other like-minded people and have chats about stuff and post memes and whatnot. All that sort of fun stuff. We will let you do almost anything that doesn't, borderline weird. We'll let weird. We'll let weird go too. You can also find us on Instagram and Twitter. That's at ComicConPod. And, of course, we have a website, Cade.
That's comicconpod.com. Past episodes, future episodes, and everything in between.
Nailed it.
That was very clean. I'm very impressed with myself.
You should just cut that and just use that each week.
I think I will, actually.
Yeah. We also have a Patreon. That's patreon.com/ComicConPod, where you can support the show for as little as $1 a month, which is fuck all, really, in the grand scheme of things.
It really is, for what you get.
And, it goes up. $1, $2, $5, $10. I don't think it goes past $10, does it?
I don't
even know. But yeah, you can get yourself a whole bunch of stuff. Early access to episodes. That's where you get it.
That's where you get
it. We also have a couple of things in the pipeline, which you will also get on Patreon.
Yes.
Which is, tell them, Cade.
You will get Potterheads. That is one episode away from being a complete finished season.
Hasn't been released to the public yet. I believe its due date is the 16th of October. Is
16th of October. That gets released to the public, with the trailer dropping on the 9th of October.
An audio trailer, not a video one, so don't expect anything like, we're not recreating Harry Potter, for the love of God. We're creating it in an audio format.
That's right.
With two chicks and no dudes being...
Two girls, one Potter.
Two girls, one pod. Let's move on. We also have Netflix and chat is coming. We are mere weeks away. I say that every week, but we are dead set mere weeks away.
That the people are going to get?
All right, now we will release this to you guys, so if you guys want to jump on board, it is on Netflix in the action and adventure section. We are going to kick things off with Bad Boys. Bad boys, bad boys. What you gonna do? What you gonna do when they come for you? If you liked that, you can expect so much more of that when Netflix and chat drops in the upcoming weeks. We don't actually have a dedicated release date, although I think it might be around the same time as Potterheads.
What?
Probably. Yeah, so jump on, watch Bad Boys, and then you can talk about it with us. Well, not with us, but, you can talk about it amongst yourself while we talk on the podcast.
They could probably rage at us and say, no, that's not right. Yeah, you're right. I hate you guys.
Yeah.
No, I love you.
Yeah, exactly. Similar to what you do with this show, but, for, Netflix shows.
Yeah.
Cool. What else is that? That's pretty much it, man. I think we've done all the housekeeping and whatnot. We do want to thank you guys for listening and subscribing and reviewing. If you haven't told a friend about the show, hey, why not go tell a friend?
Just tell one person. Tell them the show in more ways than you can imagine.
Pay it forward or something.
As Steele Saunders would say, pod it forward.
Pod it forward.
Yeah.
That's good. I like that. That's clever. But thank you for everything that you guys do for the show. If it wasn't for you, this wouldn't be a show. It'd just be two guys in my room talking about stuff, and it's kind of getting hot because we had to turn the air conditioning off, and it's warming up here. It is warming up.
Indeed.
That's it.
Let's wrap it up.
Thanks for listening. As always, I'm Troy.
I'm Cade.
And this has been Comic Confidential.
Cheers.
Peace.
This is going to sound like the definitely the Weekender edition.
Yeah.
That motherfucker mowing his lawn.
Well, I don't think you'll be able to hear that.
Maybe not.
I don't even think you'd be able to hear the motorbike that came through.
You don't reckon?
Literally almost came through the room here.
Yeah.
That's how friggin' loud it was. I don't think you'll be able to hear that. Because I'm always surprised at the things that happen that you never actually, the mics never pick up. It's amazing.
It's quite good.
Yeah. I've been swinging in my chair this whole time. I don't know if you're
squeaking
hear
like a
it.
motherfucker.
Yeah, it's going to squeak away. Hey, champ. You know what I think we should do?
Let's go watch Bad Boys.
Let's go watch Bad Boys. And then chat about it.
Okay.
Because it's on Netflix.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hey, Troy.
Hey.
Hey.
You should just release it. You should just tag it onto the end of this as a just like, oh, by the way, here is the new intro for Netflix and chat.
Hey kids, it's Netflix and chat, where Kate and Troy watch Netflix and chat. It's Netflix and chat.